What's up, geeks? Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. And it's Monday, you guys. Happy Monday. Use command qotd to let us know what you rolled on your Monday check. I'm Bozer.
I'm T.
I have the pleasure. That's it. That's my guy. That's my man right there. Come hell or high water. He's mine, hands off. Baff. T, what'd you roll on your Monday check?
My Monday was pretty average, and then I got my new Bloomburrow magic cards in, and then my inner child fucking started flipping for joy inside my body.
What'd you get in your magic deck?
So Bloomburrow is a new realm in the Magic universe, where everything is now cute little critters.
Oh, this sounds right up Sky's alley.
Oh yeah, she was the
max.
Squirrels, rabbits, otters.
Oh my god.
This is just the bundle box, but my favorite deck that came out of this is Raccoons. Its tagline is "Make Trash, Go Smash."
Hey, Baff. Ignore what I said when you were outside the chat.
So I worked and then cataloged all of the new cards we got because I like analytics and stuffs. So I currently own a lot of Magic cards.
So if you were to give 1 to 20 on your Monday,
I would say I started my Monday at like a 6.
Oof.
And then my Magic cards came in, and then it was like a 14. And then Sky and I made wings, and then it was like a 17. And then I took a nap, and now my hip has me back at like a 14.
So all in all, slightly above average.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
What about you?
I was catching up on some work that I've been neglecting for like weeks.
4 Geeks by Geeks?
That's been years. No, we are going to just keep that on the back burner because that sounds hard. But our new school year starts in a couple weeks, and there's some things that we need to hammer out. I don't know why I'm questioning
that. Like Charlie doesn't start on Thursday.
Right. I can't believe this summer went so fast. It goes so even faster when you're not in school.
Facts. Just wait till you have kids, because then you have. Well, no, you probably can. No, I think you can relate since you have the school and work with younglings so often. Like they always say, when you have kids, time moves quicker. And then growing up, I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Fucking time moves the same for everybody, and that's not true. I think I would 100% agree with the statement that when you have kids, time moves considerably quicker than not. I
just think as you get older in general, it moves faster. Like think about how long a year lasted 10 years ago for you and how fast.
You got to think though. So the reason that is so when you're younger, you have had a shorter time period. So your concept of time is passing is different because you don't have the lifespan in conjunction. So when you're a child and you're like, oh, I'm spending 8 hours in a car ride, that is a considerable chunk of your life. As you get older, that large chunk becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So I don't know if this is technically the theory of relativity, which I think that's what I'm talking about, is that how Einstein talks about, is that as you get older, things feel like things are moving quicker because your timeline has extended so far that those things are coming quicker because you have so much more experience that the time that it feels like it takes changes.
That was the most relatable and succinct definition of the theory of relativity.
I'm feeling like that's correct, but I'm also a very stupid man, so I don't know if that's true or
You're
not.
Really not. You're really smart.
But I do know that concept is something that Einstein talks about, is that feeling of time differential. And that's not even getting to the point like where time is different when you're closer to a black hole. But
yeah, like gravity. I think that's probably where, from my memory, it stems from like time reacting differently, like the further away from a gravitational pull that you
Yeah.
get. Like Interstellar. It's great. Great example of that. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Your face didn't change.
No, because I was trying to remember if I could talk about the water planet well enough. Because the first time I watched it, I recognized that the ticking in the background obviously meant something, but it never dawned on me that the ticking would be every year passing on Earth.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah, so that's when they actually go into like how much the time differential between Earth and then that planet they're on. So while they're on the water planet, the moment you hear that tick, that every second there's a tick, that is 1 year passing on Earth at their experience. And so that's why they had the differential of what was 127 years or whatever that difference was because you could listen to it. And obviously, because that was something that was such a prominent point, is if you counted the ticks, it lines up with how many years had passed.
I gotta watch that movie again
to accommodate for that difference.
Anyway, all that is to say, I felt like today was 127 ticks of me sitting in one spot in front of my laptop, catching up on things, and my butt was really sore, and I still feel like I didn't accomplish all that much.
In terms of 127, do you think you could cut off your own arm if you were stuck in a boulder?
I do. If I were in that situation, like it was so numb, and if it comes to like dying there or possibly making out, I think I could.
Yeah, my question is like at what range of numb is there? And then what level of shock does your body allow you to tolerate?
I mean,
in
that guy
in the midst of true life or death.
His arm was beyond numb. It was the nerves were dead.
Right, but he was cutting into a part that was not dead.
Oh yeah, that part, the nerve.
Yeah,
that was
but
a great visualization of it.
There's a space. There's a gap. There's a Venn diagram of dead and alive that he's operating in between.
Yeah. We can get on tangents so damn fast.
Well, my point being is wisdom teeth, how barbaric that it's fucking 2024 and we still just rip them bitches out of our heads. And so I've been thinking about like, if I was born in any other time period, I'm a bitch. I'm not surviving that. If you tell me to bite a piece of fucking wood as you go cut off a fucking limb, you got me fucked up. Just kill me. I'm not surviving that pain.
Yeah, this is all in theory. This is like what I said in the previous stream where I said I have no reason to believe that I could have survived really well in some apocalyptic event, but something in me tells me I could. It's the same thing. I could cut off my own arm until I actually have to. Then I'm probably going to just die there.
Yeah, Sky likes to remind me the world is ending. And she's like, I'm going to be fine. We're going to be fine. I was like, no, you're going to be fine. I'm not attempting this shit. No part in me wants to see if I can do this.
Yeah, I don't know how they get amputations without anesthesia at all. At all. But hey, guys, welcome to a Geek Out Sesh where we're going to take a little U-turn from Geek Out Sessions for a little bit to give us time to get our ducks in a row and explore something that T and I get really psyched about, which is alternatives to TTRPGs and to D&D in general. T had this amazing idea. Oh, love that. Can that be our campaign? Just all about that?
Yes.
T had a great idea. Do you want to explain it or would you like me to?
Yeah, so obviously, Bozer and I are both well aware that 4 Geeks by Geeks has not been doing a lot of shit. Summer is busy. I'm getting to the point of how I got here.
Go on.
As I was saying before, so rudely interrupted. We are both aware we are not doing the unofficial oaths that we took when doing this goddamn show. One of which being Mondays being Geek Out Sessions requires you to, 1, interact with people, 2, communicate with people. 3, find new people to communicate with. And when you don't post, you don't do any of those things. So while we get back into the swing of these things, I figured, why don't we do something that we can do, is easy to do, and something that we can do ourselves, and that's just TTRPGs. So I thought about it. I was like, there's plenty of 2-player TTRPGs out there, but the key thing is, do we do just one person DMs, one person plays? No, that's boring. What isn't touched on upon enough that we have communicated about is GMless co-op TTRPGs. And if you Google the best co-op TTRPG, 2 games pop up, Ironsworn and then Ironsworn Star something or another. Star Forge, thank you. One of which is free, and we're broke bitches, so guess which one we're playing. So we're going to be playing Ironsworn, a tabletop RPG of perilous quests, where we are going to go on an adventure, just the 2 of us, GMless. And as I have not read through this like I intended to, which first and foremost, I was not expecting this to be a 270-page TTRPG.
No, and let's
So
just gas up this game real quick. If you're looking, like, this was, I think, a Kickstarter, and it demolished its goals to the point that now they're giving away like the entirety of everything that you need for free. Like, it's 270 pages, and it's well crafted from the little bit that we've looked into it. But, like, of course, what you do when you don't want to read something, you watch videos, and I've just seen only 10 out of 10 5 stars for this game, and so it got me really excited. So we're going to literally be testing its playability right off the bat, knowing very little, and you're welcome to join us because we're going to figure it out right here tonight.
So this was written and designed by Sean Tompkins, and it's acknowledgement for mechanics and basic ideas that it pulled from to make this game, 3 of 5 of which we are aware of. 1 is Apocalypse World. 2 is Dungeon World. 3 is Fate. So those are the 3 we know. The 2, personally, I don't know, are Mythic and City of Judas.
I thought you were going to say of Mist.
No.
I was like, are you serious?
But yeah, so I have read, while we waited the 17 minutes to start the show and before we started talking, I did read several pages of this. So I haven't 100% answered our question of how do you play this game GMless, but it has something to deal with the Oracle. But the Oracle
kind of acts as the GM.
Yes and no. It specifically says the Oracle is not a GMless simulator because it's intended to be yes and no questions. The game, from how I'm kind of reading this, definitely feels like it's in the realm of yes-anding collaborative storytelling, where you're kind of filling in the gaps and creating the thing as you go along. But I'm not 100% sure how that plays into where you bring in conflict in your quests and things of said nature.
Well, what do you say we just like read a little bit of this out loud as we're reading it together? And because even while I was doing that a little bit, I was like, oh, I see. You have to go to these pages, and maybe that's a little more helpful. So for you at home that you don't have the rule book in front of you, I'm not going to read this entire book, I promise. But just to get us started, in the Ironsworn tabletop role-playing game, you are a hero sworn to undertake perilous quests in the dark fantasy setting of the Iron Lands. And Ironsworn is kind of in dark fantasy, but Ironsworn Starforge is in kind of a space odyssey kind of thing.
Space Odyssey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Future reference. You will explore untracked wilds, fight desperate battles, forge bonds with isolated communities, and reveal secrets of this harsh land. Most importantly, you will swear iron vows, that's important, and see them fulfilled no matter the cost, which I've found is like a core game mechanic of Ironsworn. To play Ironsworn, you create your character, make some decisions about the world you inhabit, and set the world in motion. When you encounter something dangerous or uncertain, your choices and the dice determine the outcome. And you can play this a couple of different ways, guided with one or more players as a GM. But the way we are playing is co-op. You and one or more friends play together to overcome challenges and complete quests. A GM is not required. The Ironsworn game system will help you explore the dramatic stories of your characters and their fateful vows. You can also play solo. It also says it's primarily intended for solo and small group play. So it's great for those of you that want to get into TTRPGs, but you can't find a big group that you're going to play weekly with. Like, this is just a great way to kind of jump in even by yourself if you want to. If you're playing solo, just grab some materials and get started. If you're playing with one or more friends, either guided or co-op, you probably want to dedicate enough time to make some progress in your quests, maybe a couple hours or more. Here's all you need. 2 10-sided dice for each player. Those are your challenge dice. You need 1 6-sided die for each player. This is your action dice. Optionally, another pair of 10-sided dice to use as your oracle dice. You need your character sheet, some asset cards that are also available for download, like 78 of them.
For free.
And some counters for marking status tracks on your character sheet. You can use paper clips, beads, dice, coins, tokens from other games, or whatever is convenient. So Ironsworn uses various mechanics such as rolling dice and managing stats, blah, 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 blah. It's heavily reliant on fiction, which is imagined character situations, places within your game. You will play from the perspective of your character. You will interpret actions and events in a way that is consistent with the dramatic fictional reality you have forged for your story and your world. To learn more about mechanics and fiction, go to page 203. So that might be helpful in a minute. The setting, which we're going to create live together by deciding truths of our world. The default setting for your adventure is the Ironlands. It is a rugged peninsula of isolated communities and untracked wilds of the frontier of the known world. They even give you a map, which is something we've never had in Cloudscape. Right off the go. And they even give you like...
Not for a lack of a repeated request.
No, of course not. But they even give you like names of the regions of the map, or they give you like a blank side that you can just create names on your own, which is fun. That's what I found a lot about this game. Like, if you want to do minimal thinking, it's got you. If you want to create on top of anything that your mind can think of, it's also available for that, which is fun. The Iron Vows in Ireland, Ironland, a vow is sacred. When you declare your solemn promise to serve or aid someone or to complete a personal quest, your honor is bound to that vow. Abandoning or recanting an oath is the worst sort of failure. And from what I've seen, it's really that vow that you bond yourself to.
Yep.
Which is like your progress in the game. In order to like accelerate or like progress your character, you want to move towards completing your vow. And kind of like it reminded me of City of Mist in a way, that by like going against something that you hold dear, then you're going to be penalized for it.
Yeah, so I think the best place to start there is then jump to you are Ironsworn and then actually build your character. I think makes the most sense as we try to build into this.
Okay, you want to build characters first?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to skip some pages.
So you are Ironsworn. Others live their lives, hardly venturing beyond the walls of their village or steading, but you are different, damn straight.
Damn straight.
Your sworn vows will lead you to a life of danger, heroism, and sacrificing all at the edge of the unknown world. I also need you to know my ADHD brain wanted to abandon this and have us just figure out how to play Kingdom Death Monster.
That's another night. That's for another night.
All right, so vision your character. Before you jump into the mechanics of your character, consider their motivations, interests, skills, personality, and weaknesses. It's fine to start with 1 or 2 ideas about your background and goals. You can flesh out your characters as you play. Most importantly, be awesome. Your characters are highly competent. You're smart, brave, and driven. There's your affirmations for the day. You can hold your own in a fight. I can, buzzer, maybe not. When you swear an iron vow, you mean honest. You're not without your limitations. You face hardships. You'll make bad decisions.
Sure will.
Super good at that. Overcoming those failures. Be who you want. All right, where to start? You can build your world, build your character, or do both in tandem. We have limited brain cells, so we're going to do one at a time. If you have a clear idea of your character, start there and build your world around them. If you're building a set to suit your actor, if you need inspiration, start with the world. Boo. Wrath of Khan, welcome in. Welcome in.
Hi, pretty. Watch us stretch our brains to the ultimate peak tonight. I know it includes prompts, or at least when I was listening to it, a guy was doing session 0 that I was listening to earlier, but he was in Starforged. I don't know if they just included more kinds of things in that because it's not free.
Yeah, there was a lot of options. Starforged was more or less Ironswon 2.0.
Yeah.
So my least favorite thing in the world is naming your character.
Just use a generator.
I wish we had a good generator we could use right now.
Could it be somewhere along this plane? Is that an XIII or?
I wonder what that means.
13? A tavern? Looks like a guy's in a pub. Pub CEE. Of course, Cantina 13. Got to shout them out with our Mythos Logos generator they created just for us, but free to you.
All right, so while you're pulling that up, though, so your character sheet's broken down over 5 stats. Edge, heart, iron, shadow, wit. What the fuck do those things mean? Let's go look and find out. Because I did read about this earlier, but I can't remember specifically kind of how those break down. So let's go.
It's kind of a nice little consolidation. It takes like the umpteen stats that you have in D&D and kind of puts them into just like 5 different categories, which I appreciate. So it's just on the next page. Edge, which would include your quickness, agility, and prowess.
What page was that on?
This is page 44. It's just on the next 2 pages away from where you were.
Oh, shit. I was literally there and I just looked over it. Okay.
Yeah. So edge is quickness, agility, and prowess in ranged combat. Heart is courage, willpower, empathy, sociability, and loyalty. Iron is your physical strength, endurance, aggressiveness, and prowess in close combat. Shadow is your sneakiness, deceptiveness, and cunning. And wits is expertise, knowledge, and observation.
And the cool thing about this is you just have numbers available. So you get 3 2 2s and 2 1s that you implement into your stats.
And just like D&D, that's going to be your modifier for later when you're rolling. Yep. You basically roll your action dice, which is your D6, and add your stat modifier. So we can assign a single 3, which is our best stat, 2 2s, which is our medium stat, and then 2 1s, which are our worst stat.
So I think realistically, so what my headcanon is, I think we're playing brothers, and I think what had happened was, I think our village got raided, and we're the sole survivors. We're not going to be super old. We're probably going to be some younglings that managed to hide, but we have got some combat under our, so we're going to be capable of holding our own. So the question is, with the 2 of us, what is going to be our niche? I think. So
one of us has to be brawn, one of us has to be brain.
Correct. So the question is, who's going to be Scarecrow and who's going to be the lion?
But the lion lacks courage while he lacks strength.
I couldn't remember. I lost the analogy as I was going with it. I was like, maybe nobody will question me. And I was like, oh, fuck, Theater Boy's going to question me.
Actually...
Part of me wanted to do Shadow as my main, but I don't like the idea of that. Torin Oni, who is my character's name, he feels like a tank. I think Iron is going to be his 3.
You go Iron, I'll go Shadow. I kind of like the idea of Rogue.
Okay.
I don't
So
often get
iron
to play
is
about.
physical strength, endurance, aggressiveness, and prowess in close combat. Shadow is sneakiness, deceptiveness, and kind of, which makes it easy for me to know immediately where 1 is going. Because if I'm iron, shadow is obviously not going to be a 2. That's going to be a 1 for sure.
Yeah, and that'd be one of my ones as well. Iron will be a 1. So that we're like yin and yang. We complement each other.
Exactly. So iron's my big one. Then we've got.
I think
I'm sorry, go ahead.
if shadow is my 3, then I think quickness, agility, and prowess and range combat makes sense to be a 2.
Edge for sure is a 2 for you, which immediately puts me thinking, I think heart, courage, willpower, empathy, sociability, and loyalty is definitely a 2.
You're like paladin status.
I think that is kind of the route I'm going.
Okay.
And so I think wits is going to be my other 2. I think edge is going to be my other 1.
We're going to have some overlap just because of the way these stand out. I'm going to make wits my 2, my other 2,
Nice.
and heart my other 1.
Okay.
Are you ready to learn your name from the Mythos Logos generator?
I've already got my name.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Torin
You used
Oni.
Oh, you said Torin, and that was like a key name in like your first D&D character, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. So that's
So
kind of
I
always
thought
my
that's what
go-to
you were
name for
referring
most
to.
things, to be honest. Yeah.
Ooh, I like this. So our family name is Oni.
Oni, yeah.
Then mine is Cass Oni.
So
Is that
Cass
O-N-I?
and Torin. O-N-I.
Dig it.
All right.
Okay, then we do health. Health represents your current physical condition. Stamina ranked from 0 to +5. Health is reduced when you endure harm, page 91, and increased when you rest or receive care. Because I think all we get is 5 hit points.
Yeah, so to start, you set your health track to 5, which I like that this one does it like the paperclip method, where it tells you a paperclip is an item you should have. So on your printed character, you just slide that up and down. The other big thing I like about this game, which is one that I think Big Eye, Small Mouth, which I'm still not unconvinced is a problematic name for the anime TTRPG, focuses a big thing on momentum. So swings on...
Yeah.
Which this does as well, which I like the concept of, is when things are really going your way, momentum's on your end. But if that momentum, things should get more challenged, which I like the idea of. So I like that this is a thing here. And this momentum swings from -6 to +10.
And what I've found is momentum is something that you can use kind of cash in. It's like you're building advantage for yourself. That when you roll poorly, like you have to decide when to use it, because you can't just use it anytime. But then depending on where you are on the momentum track, you can then cash in those points towards your roll to give you a better roll in that single instance.
And then the other big thing that is a component of this game, which I feel like gets grossly ignored in a lot of other TTRPGs, is your mental state. So this has Spirit, which Spirit is your current mental state ranked from 0 to 5. Spirit is reduced when you endure stress, is increased when you find comfort and companionship, success, relax moments through a make a camp or forge a bond. If you're at 0 Spirit, scoring a miss when you endure stress puts you at risk of suffering, debility, or falling into desolation. Which we all know mental health is my big thing, but not even in that realm, but just the concept of like, you are a warrior, you're gonna get stressed out. And I don't feel like that's truly a mechanic that's implemented into a lot of stuff,
right? Which is
an important thing that you gotta know. Not everybody's a fucking cold-hearted fucking killer. A lot of people are gonna take a life and be like, ooh, I got some fucking things to see if I'm okay with what just happened. Oh, I just cut a man's arm off and I left him. Does that make me a monster? I don't know.
When does a man become a...
Don't get me sidetracked. You're doing this now. This is on you. So Spirit Track starts to 5. Now we get to supply, which is something I could fucking care less about in the game. But anyways, supply is the abstract representation of your preparedness, including ammo, food, water, and general upkeep. It's ranked from 0 to 5. Instead of keeping track of a detailed inventory, you consider most of your Monday gears covered under supply. Supply is decreased when you undertake a journey, move toward. You might also reduce supply as a narrative cost when you face hardships, facing danger, things of that nature. But to start, you simply track your supply track to 5. You and your allies share the same supply value while you adventure together, which is cool. When one of you makes a move that raises or lowers the supply track, each of you should make the adjustment on your character sheets.
Okay. I dig that.
Which, again, this is another TTRPG where... from what I can see, is a 1-page character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Technically 2, because you've got your progress tracker and your Oracle worksheets. But for everything for you to just be able to roll dice and look, you've got just 1 sheet of paper, which makes me question, where do attacks and all that work? But we'll get there.
But I find it interesting to supply. When your supply falls to 0, all characters make out of supply move. If you are at 0 supply and suffer additional negative supply, you each must reduce your health, spirit, or momentum tracks by that amount.
Ooh, okay.
So it shows that like resources in this life affect your health or mental state.
No, it makes you Sirkin.
Yeah, honestly. Honestly, Rat. Okay, momentum. Momentum represents how you're faring in your quests. It is gained and lost through moves. If you have positive momentum, you are building on your success and ready to make decisive moves. If you have negative momentum, you have suffered setbacks and your quest is in jeopardy. Learn more about momentum, go to another page. Use a momentum track on the left side of your character sheet, which I'm just going to show them real quick what this character sheet looks like. So here's where your stats are. Here's your health, spirit, and supply, and then this whole track here is your momentum. So it goes from -6 to +10, which is cool. Your max momentum is +10 and reduced by 1 for every marked ability. Your momentum reset starts at plus.
Cool.
If you have 1 ability marked,
that's cool.
Your reset is +1. If you have more than 1 ability marked, your reset is 0.
Okay. So now we get to the fun stuff. Sorry, go ahead, bud.
We start at +2.
+2.
Okay.
So next we get into our vows, our first vow. So when you swear an iron vow, you give it a rank: troublesome, dangerous, formidable, extreme, or epic, and record it on your character sheet. You then use a vow progress track to mark when you reach a milestone. You should start your first session with 2 vows: a long-term goal, your background vow, and an immediate situation which must be dealt with. Your inciting incident. You'll find a quest starter in Chapter 4, Your World, Foes and Encounters. To learn about your starting vows, see page 195. So,
okay.
I think
I'm going to scroll to 195.
Yes. So while you do that, I'm thinking out loud here because I think we're going to have a shared. It's either going to be a shared long-term or a shared immediate situation. So it really breaks down into what path we go for this, because if we're doing the backstory of our entire village was raided and killed, we're probably seeking revenge to some degree, but that may not mean the same thing to each of our characters.
Oh, and I found the things that you can roll and kind of help decide on some random shit.
Oh, is that on 195?
That's what the Oracle is. Like, on 193, there's a character roll. Like, we could roll a D100 and we find out what kind of, like, maybe it's like what kind of village we were in.
Oh, like, okay. I can get on board with that.
Performers.
Okay, well, let's do that then.
You got a D100 nearby?
I've got 2 D10s ready to go in use.
There you go. Okay, let's see what our village was best known for.
All right, so let's look at, so all of your Oracle charts break down to action, theme, region, which I think we kind of gotta. I understand now why it says in tandem, making your character in your world simultaneously. That makes a little more sense to me now. Region, location, coastal waters, location descriptor, settlement name, which I feel like I think we kind of got to go through all of this simultaneously for at least the village at the bare minimum.
Because what I listened to, the guy set up the world first and decided the truths, and then those kind of motivated his own like the role might kind of say what it is, but then he helped fill in the gaps with what was already built from the world.
So let's do what part of the region was our village in. Do you want to do that first roll?
Where are you? What page?
I am on page 187.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. Let's go. They're both the same color. Okay, that will be my tents. 25.
So 25 puts us in the deep wilds.
I like it. I need somewhere to write this. Okay, I'm going to write it on the back.
It's all right. I'm taking notes right now as well. So I'm going to roll for our location, which was 69. Nice. Puts us at the foothills in the deep wilds.
So, like, when I see here foothills, it almost sounds like it's on like the cusp of like the deep wilds, you know? Like maybe it's still far from civilization, but not in like that really scary part of the deep wilds.
Yep.
But we lived on the cusp of it. Like that last safe haven before you see that sign, turn back now. Otherwise, like people have gone into the deep forest and never been seen again.
All right. So what is going to be our location descriptor? Give us that roll.
Okay. I got a 14.
Ooh, so 14 is rough.
It is rough.
So that's a little broad. Maybe we can get a better descriptor a little bit deeper once we figure out why exactly that location is going to be rough.
I immediately interpret it because it's on the cusp of those like deep scary woods but
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So what's in the deep wilds that makes it rough? You see what I'm saying? So we don't know yet what's in the deep wilds, but maybe as we go a little bit further, we'll have that understanding of kind of like the world's back lore for why that location became a rough location.
I'm gonna write rough ? Come back.
All right, so now we've got our settlement name. So it looks like
we roll a D100 for like the category and then another one for
which is cool.
That's cool.
So
that's
cool. Give us the over one.
Okay. 3.
So a 3 is a feature of the landscape. Envision what it is, what makes it unusual or distinctive. And if we didn't want to give that example, there's an example table which we can roll into right now. So our feature is going to be 56 being stone forward. I don't know what that means.
Ooh. I kind of imagine that like maybe we're on the edge of like some very rocky, like almost like in the mountains. Maybe there was like a mine, like a ford. What's a ford?
All right, we're just going to Google this real quick. Stone forward.
A ford is a truck. Welcome to Stoneford. Like 3 different accents in one sentence.
I don't know. And if you just Google Stoneford, nothing really.
Ask what is a ford. Define ford.
All right. So Stoneford, the site of a ford, a crossing place on a river used by people, vehicles, or animals.
Oh, so it's like almost like a rocky bridge, maybe
so
like a
what connects into the deep wilds. So I think here what it is. So there's going to be the deep wild, and I think there's going to be like a gorge of some type.
Yeah,
and maybe we're like the protectors of the bridge.
I like it.
I think
that huge crack is almost like a crack into the planet itself. Like it goes down so deep.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe let's scrap kind of what we're. Maybe that's what our characters were. We were the protectors of that stone fort, and we fucked up somehow.
Like, are we protectors of people getting to the deep wilds, or keeping out?
See, that's the good question, and I think there's going to be a lot of rumor on both sides. So maybe we're kind of outcasts in the sense that we're like the outsiders of like the surrounding villages, because every tribe's going to have their own stories of what goes bump in the night, right? So there's going to be some people like, oh yeah, those are our protectors, they're going to keep the things in the dark, while the other ones like, no, they're the ones who are like luring people to be fed into the deep wilds. I think there's like a lot we can play off as we kind of like travel elsewhere. But I think that's what I think we were supposed to be, the almost like the gatekeepers of the deep wilds,
like keeping the normies safe while keeping the quote unquote dangers out.
Hear me out. What if people have to go? What if the deep wilds is where hunting takes place, but the deep wilds is intended to be like big creature hunting? Like, this isn't meant to be
monster hunting.
Yes, it's not your average Joe, I'm going for dinner. No, this is where you prove yourself a hunter or a warrior.
Yeah, like a warrior.
Yeah.
So then the next question is quick settlement name. So is Stoneford like a larger area?
No, I think Stoneford is probably, because you got to remember, so this game, there's no big cities. You just have small groups of people established. So I just think the Stoneford is that chasm. And for whatever reason, you and I and whoever else was a part of this little village, we settled there. And so we maybe had 10 or so people that was their job, just 24/7. We protected, almost like the night watch. Like the night watch, yeah.
Was there a wall?
Ooh. I think so.
Really, I think the chasm was so big, like the only way to get across was through this stone fort, and it was like a naturally made thing, maybe like a piece of the mountain kind of tumbled down and created this natural pass.
I like that.
And so it's not like it's so big that you couldn't even build a bridge across if you wanted to. Maybe people even tried like shooting crossbows, but all have failed.
Yep.
Because of the dangers.
All right. So what's our settlement name? Do you want the prefix or the suffix?
I want that suffix, baby.
All right. So I got the prefix at 47, being storm.
Storm Ford. We are Stormford of Stoneford. Wait, did you say Stoneford twice? No.
I don't know how to explain it, okay?
I'm re-rolling.
Please do.
77.
77.
Rock. We are stuck in a theme. Storm Rock. Though Storm Rock sounds like a really cool metal that I would listen to at length.
I think third time's the charm, though, right?
Okay, go. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem.
Maybe.
I got 75, one higher mount. Storm Mount. That's cool.
Okay.
So we
reside in Stormmont, which is a stone ford.
Which is in the stone ford.
Oh, and look at that. Settlement Trouble. What started our adventure? Let's see. 90. A dangerous tradition. Okay. So maybe here it is. Maybe we're not warriors yet. We have not earned the right to be guardians yet. We have to go into the deep wilds to prove ourselves.
And so that's where we have just set out?
So we are setting out, yes. Ooh, so we're setting out from Stormmount into the deep wilds.
Storm Rock.
See, now
It's
Stormrock
Stormrock.
makes more sense.
Yeah. Proving ourselves in the deep wild. I just love that these things are so specific, but so leaves so much room to connect the dots. Like, we didn't have to sit down and think of a full campaign. Like, this game can just help you think of it as you roll, and it's so much fun to me.
All right, so Dangerous Tradition, Cass and Torin must venture into deep wilds to hunt a beast and become guardians of Stormrock. Okay.
I love this already.
See, now it's making more sense in my brain. So, like, our first quest is obviously venturing into deep wilds. We have our encounter, and that will determine what the next path we go is.
So now we get into the characters. So this will help flesh out a little bit more about Orin or Torin and Cass. Oh, Shine! Shit. You stop
25 months. Sometimes, so when I see 25 months, I recognize that, one, we've been friends with Britt for a minimum of 2 years now. Already weird. But then I remember, we haven't been streaming for 2 years, because then we have guys like Alex and DJ who have been subbed us for like fucking almost 50 months, which means we've been doing this shit for 4 years, plus the year before Twitch even took place. And we're back on time, not time and time.
It goes so fast because honestly, I think we're getting further away from the gravitational pull. It must be.
Time is a weird soup. I'm really glad Time Soup is catching on with others. All right. Do you want to do your character role first, or do you want me to?
Yeah. So these are a little more specific. These are character roles, like ROLE. What is our role?
With some of these, I think is going to explain a bit more maybe personality, but we'll kind of see what we roll. So.
What is that? Okay. I got 72, which is a fisher.
Interesting.
Maybe because we don't live near water, maybe there was like we fished into the chasm itself.
Go Burr, Britt. You were all good. Wait, I'm sorry. Say that because my brain went you fish into the chasm, which I think is wildly awesome. Okay.
Yeah, like it was part of the part of our village that fished into the chasm. Like, it had to go so deep. Like, we use these huge mechanical things to fish way down deep, and maybe we put down like an entire cow and pull up whatever gets hooked.
That's fun. All right, so while you're doing that, I'm 84, so Torin's just the straight up hunter.
Okay.
Which is already fitting for what we kind of saw there.
Yeah. That's why I use a little more wit and...
Yep. Because you have to. If you're fishing into a massive chasm, you got to be the smart one.
Into the chasm. Dude, this is so cool. I feel like I couldn't come up with this shit on my own if you paid me.
So now character goals. So this will kind of lead into our vows, which will be nice.
Okay. I rolled a 40. Create an item.
Ooh.
Maybe I heard talk of, like, I'm tired of fishing the old way. Like, there's a way to actually, like, traverse into the chasm itself.
So you're not going off of luck. You want to actually venture down in there.
Like, I've watched you, my brother, go out and hunt with his bare hands and see a prey and pounce. And I want to do that, except into the chasm. But no man can just go down and do that. So you have to create an item that maybe helps you traverse down there.
And you see how this is going to play into, because I just rolled 18, so I owe a debt.
Ooh, to what? To whom?
So now it's going to be one of those things. Torin probably tried hiding that. Cass is the smart one of the two and noticed that. And he's like, listen, there might be a way that we can work together on this. And so maybe we can get into the sense of maybe there's like bounty boards.
Okay.
So people are like, I need XYZ. And so, yeah, you can get it in the chasm and you could fish for days on it and maybe come across. Or with your item, you can start specifically getting the things that people are requesting. So we can get the money necessary to pay that debt.
Oh. What's your debt to? What did you do to get yourself into debt?
That's a good question. I think while Torin is the protector type, I think Torin's a bit cocky. I think he's going to be a little bit too full of himself and maybe bet on himself.
Oh, like in like the fight rings or something? Or
I think so. Maybe not that. I think he's a bit of a tavern brawler. I think he will square up with anybody and then just got played.
Yeah. Like somebody looked small, but
yep,
they were 3 goblins in a trench coat and took it down. Well, it's funny you say cocky because the very next is character descriptor.
Okay.
Let's see if this can play into yours. I'm curious. You roll first.
You want me to roll first? Okay.
Yeah.
So I got 16. Oh, no, sorry. That's 61. 61. Quiet. Ooh. So maybe
You're
instead.
Like a strong silent type.
Strong silent type. Maybe Torin got involved in something while trying to protect somebody else. And he's like, you know what? You care so much about him now. His debt is your debt.
Wow. I can see why I look up to my brother. I'm getting the sense that you're the older brother.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I just want to be like you.
Okay,
I see
hear me out.
Answer the bold. Yeah.
Hear me out. What if while Cass was trying to make that item, he took on money to start being able to build some shit and hasn't been able to do it yet? And so instead of them going after you, Torin stepped in. He's like, no. Good fucking try.
And you took on my debt?
Yeah.
Wow. Love you, bro.
I think that's it.
Let's see how mine fits in. 48. Kind.
Well, no, I think that's fitting though, because I feel like Cass would be the one, because he's doing this in an attempt to help the people. He's like, no, guys, trust me, this can work. Like, I think the world is probably going to be a bit more primal in savagery, and I think Cass is going to be one of those more kind of like, no, there's better ways we can do this.
We can use our brains and become better than we are.
Exactly. So Cass is out here trying to help people, but helping people costs money. And if you don't have a good way to earn money, you got to borrow money. And sometimes when you borrow money, if you can't return that money, people get pissed.
Because I've been focusing on my fishing duties and making like the minimum wages that I normally would. I've been putting all my time, and you believed in me enough to take on my debt.
Yep.
Ugh, I love this guy.
All right, so we can skip Ironlander names. We had our own names, but if we would have paid attention, we wouldn't need to use Cantina 13, but we always will regardless.
Fuck them. Just kidding. No, I like our names.
So...
Ooh, elf names. Okay, if we were elven.
So I think we're good on these right now, because that gave us a lot of backstory to play with.
For sure. Do we take a second to build some truths about this world?
I think so.
Because there's also included in the free PDF download a Your World Truths workbook. And it gives some kind of basic things like the old world, iron, communities, legacies. And it gives you some options that you can either choose, or we could roll like a D4. Because there's 4 options, one being like create your own. And just see
which one are you looking at right now?
I'm at the Your World workbook.
Okay, that's what I got open to. Okay. So the old world, you said 4 options. Okay, So we've got Yeah, I think we just roll.
And then if we create when the fates decide we should, otherwise we take what's given.
So do you want to take the
about
first
rolling.
one?
Sure. I'm looking for a D4. Hold on. Got one. Okay. Quickly, my dice collection is adding up here in my tray.
Hey. Damn, where are my D4s? There's one. Okay.
Okay. I rolled a 4. We get to create it. So,
so let's read these other ones to see what they're talking about so we can get an idea. So the savage clans called the Schooled invade the kingdoms of the old world. Our enemies fell. Most were killed or taken into slavery. Those who escaped set sail about anything that would float. After an adventurous months away, the survivors made landfall. The sickness moved like a horrible wave, or the old world could no longer sustain us. So this is asking us a question: what was before what we're in now? Is kind of how I'm interpreting.
Starter. So this is going to help us understand
which we've kind of already dictated, but we've kind of already manipulated around and against. So how the question is what was going on before this?
I almost feel like this chasm is part of it. Like the world was a little more peaceful, but throughout the world, these chasms, like a rift into maybe like almost like a hollow earth or another dimension, and it unleashed monsters into the world,
which are probably residing in the deep wilds.
Yeah, after all of us have been long ago were attacked.
Yeah.
And we're left with whatever's left in society. Now we've kind of been able to carve out our little pockets of civilization around the world. And
which is why we protect the chasm.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so basically, long ago, chasms opened up across the world and unleashed a torrent of monsters and evil. And now all of us are kind of scraping by against these monsters, but wishing that there was something that could combat them or to turn the tides. And maybe that's part of the item that I want to create.
Okay, see, we're getting somewhere. So Stormrock would be probably one of the more narrow parts of the chasm. So there's a way to traverse from one side to the other. And so that Stoneford being narrow, those of Stormrock, that's their duty. That's their vow, is to protect that labyrinth.
Our goal is to protect.
Which still plays into the trouble of that dangerous tradition of our predecessors are just those cocky bastards. Like, no, this is our land. And so while Torin and Cass may not be, we were probably, I think based off of our character descriptions and kind of build, we're probably going to be the outsiders of the group, because I think we're going to be in a village of cliche warriors, fucking barrel chested. We kill. That's all we're good for. And then Torin and Cass like, but do we? But knowing our jobs, that's when we get into, it's our coming of age tale. We are setting off into the deep wilds to show we have the namesake necessary to carry on the tradition of our duty of keeping these two worlds apart.
And I can almost see that Torin was even better accepted, because like maybe while your demeanor isn't of the rest of the clan, maybe physically you are closer to what is acceptable.
Sure. Yep.
And Cass is probably smaller and just seen as like monster fodder.
Yep.
But I only made it this far because I had a bigger brother keeping tabs on me and protecting me from just getting thrown to the wolves.
Yep. So our quest starter is hunt monster for tradition.
Maybe it's like time is up on the debt. I feel like I'm closer to the idea of what to build, but the thing that we need and to prove ourselves is out in the deep wilds. And so like we can't stay where we are because
I think these are probably going to be two separate quest lines. So
Maybe,
I think our quest starter, the killing a monster in the deep wilds, I think that's our prologue into the tale.
Oh, sure. Okay, I hear you.
And then I do think we have a lot to play with that item in the debt, but I don't think that's what you open off the adventure with.
Got it. I hear you. Like the overarching is the tradition. It's moving us forth to like prove ourselves.
Yeah.
But then the minor subtext is.
Yep. So yeah, I think our old world quest is just hunt monsters for tradition. And then inside of the build up into all of that, we still have our backstories for the debts and the items.
Okay. Dig it. Okay, the next category in the world is iron.
Okay, so now I think... So examples there being the imposing hills and monsters of Ironlands are rich in iron ore. Most prized of all is the star-forged black iron. Weather is bleak, rain and wind sweep in from the ocean. Winters are long and bitter. One of the first settlers complained, only those made of iron dare live in this foul place.
It's kind of the lore of iron. Because in Ironsworn, what I found is the tie between them all is to make a vow, you have to touch a piece of iron, whatever importance that iron holds, and that's what's being decided.
All right, so I rolled a 1. So our iron is the imposing hill and mountains of the iron, or the Ironlands are rich in iron. Most prized of all is star-forged black iron. Quest starter.
Star-forged.
Yeah, the caravan bound for distant southlands left the mining settlement last season, but never arrived to its destination. It carried a bounty of black iron. Why is finding the last caravan so important? So I think a big part of Ironsworn is hacking the game to fit. I don't think that particularly fits into this world that we're building, but I think there's something we can play off of there.
I kind of feel like maybe not the caravan bit, but the reason we need black iron, it's valuable.
Yep.
And maybe it's also like that one piece that we need.
And you know what we get iron off of? Monsters.
Iron dragons.
And so that star-forged black iron is this very mythical creature that's only been rumored. And that's what we are trying to achieve. And because in your head, in Cass's head, that Starford, that's that missing piece he needs to make this item work.
Yeah. But there's got to be enough in this monster that we defeat. Plenty to sell and pay back all the debt. Yeah. I'm going to draw an arrow down here just to need black iron. Isn't all iron black?
I have no idea.
For missing piece of build plus extremely valuable. I want to get into the story so bad right now. We're not even done building it. Okay, so now we know the old world tradition and why iron is so important.
Yep.
Now onto legacies. This seems to be, while old world was about the world itself, this is more of like the tradition of
our people.
Mankind, our people, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a 2, which is other humans sailed here from the old world untold years ago, but all that is left of them is a savage, feral people we call the Broken. Is their fate to become our own?
So I think how that plays into, I think the Stoneford that we protect is probably the carcasses of the previous war. So we are actually traversing across like fossils of the monsters of the deep wilds that fought against man. And so we've got the chasm, right? And the bridge that we're able to walk across is probably a dead monster, like his decaying carcass.
Yeah. And it talks about all that's left of the people that sailed here long ago are a feral people we call the broken. It's almost like they've become so like detached from humanity and civilization. They're just savage. And almost like beasts themselves. So we're not just fighting beasts, we are fighting the broken. Quest starter suggestion is you find a child, one of the broken. It is wounded and hunted by others of its kind. Do you protect it even at the risk of inviting the wrath of their broken tribe?
See, and then we play that into directly as we're into the deep wilds hunting. That's where we start discovering the tales that we've heard growing up of these barbaric children running amok amongst the monsters being one of them. We fall into finding one of those children as we're adventuring.
Have you ever seen a broken?
What was that?
Have you ever witnessed, like with our own eyes, the broken? Or have they just been rumors at this point?
I think it's probably just rumors at this point.
And that's why people give us such shit from protecting them from fucking what?
Yep.
Like we've clearly tampered it down far enough that we can fish the chasms for like easy to catch monsters. So it can't be that bad. At least in our eyes.
In our eyes, yep.
All right, communities. Roll that
one. Right, let's see.
See how closely we live within other communities.
So we are forged the Ironlands into a home. Villages within the havens are connected by well-trod roads. Trade caravans travel between settlements. See, that one doesn't seem very fitting for what we're kind of establishing here.
It almost feels like that's true on this side of the chasm.
That might be. Then maybe that's it. So trade caravans travel between settlements into the havens and our outlying regions. Even so, most of the land is untamed.
Like our communities, there's probably a tribe several miles away, but maybe like 2 or 3 that we really know and maybe trade with.
Yep.
But I mean, we live in the deep wild, so that suggests that there's something like we are on the outskirts of something. This is probably the last outpost for any civilization.
I like that. That works.
Okay. So at least it proves there's things. We're not like the last stead of humanity in this world.
True.
Quest starter suggestion: decades-long feud between 2 circles has flared into open conflict. What is the cause of dispute? Do you join in a fight? Or
that's already been established. That's the Deep Wilds versus Stormrock.
Yeah. Okay. I'm liking how these are just like falling more into place as we are building this.
So now we've got leaders.
Who's in charge of Stormrock? Each community has its own leader called an overseer. Okay. Fallout. Every 7th spring, the people affirm their current overseer or choose a new one. Some overseers wear the iron circlet reluctantly, while others thirst for power and gain it through schemes or threats.
Okay. So now I think, obviously, we have to go back. And now we have to make our leader based off the Oracle.
Oh, yep. Okay, I'm with you. I'm like, what are you talking about?
So let's start with a name.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and roll. So that D4, we're going to do, I think these names are broken up male versus female.
Are you an Ironlander names or?
Yeah, so 184 and 185
Oh, you're
are
way
two
back.
different tables of names.
Oh, I gotcha.
And I think it's intended to be male or female. So we'll say 1 and 3 is odds. So we'll make that male. 2 and 4 evens female.
I'm looking at, sorry, it's page 184 and 85 in the book, but that's
Above
out of
the PDF is 195 technically.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
But yeah,
okay.
So 1 and 3 odds male, 2 and 4 evens female.
Okay. So 67 sounds like a female name. Gwen. Another is the second page is 185 last names.
Maybe. Where the fuck are you seeing Gwen?
On
there it is. I'm blind.
184. 67 is Gwen. And then the table starts over again.
Yeah, so we'll make that the last name then. So 55. Gwen Maddox.
That works.
Okay. So now let's scroll back up a bit here. So we can go to... So what is their role? You want to give that role?
Sure. 61.
61, making them a artisan.
Maybe they're like their family has been like the richest in black iron.
I could see that.
And it just makes economic sense to keep them in control so that we always have a...
And their goal is to seize power.
Oh, through black iron. Okay, so richest black iron artisan. And she wears the iron circlet that her family probably forged way back in the day.
Ooh, so now the question is, what is their descriptor?
Go ahead and
this
roll
is
that
going to
one.
be real defining. 20 hostile. That makes sense.
Because I bet it's the 7th spring. Do we have any goals on being tribe leader? Just Torin?
I think Torin's probably expected to be.
Especially if you come back with a shit ton of black iron.
Yep. All right.
And it's like it's time to shift the power from just resources to like raw strength.
Which is why Gwen's hostile and expects to keep using black iron to maintain their position of power.
But if everyone's got black iron, then she loses all the power.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so defense. Here in the Ireland, supplies are too precious and the lands are too sparsely populated to support organized fighting forces. When a community is threatened, the people stand together to protect their own, which is already fitting for what we described.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you rolled?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, quest starter, a settlement is unable or unwilling to defend itself against an imminent threat. Why? What peril do they face? What will you do to protect them? Maybe that plays into that child that we came across.
Like they were, a broken child was seen on the outskirts, like across the other side of the chasm.
And then they got chased, come across us, but they were being chased back to their village. And so we're going to be the middleman between the deep wild community versus one of our communities. So we're going to have to make a decision on who we're helping.
Yeah, it's like maybe like all the stories say that they are bloodthirsty, and but they are just trying to survive, just like all of us.
Maybe we don't know that yet.
We don't know
that because I think something like this, we're going to have to recognize we're going to have to make some hard decisions, and they may have consequences.
Did we hear tell of a black iron beast coming close to the village?
That wouldn't be a bad one. So quest. All right, so settlement unable to defend themselves.
I'm going to leave it a little open-ended and just say...
Yeah, I'm just going to say settlement unable to defend themselves. We can kind of, once we get there, kind of see what it plays into. Now, what I'm excited to see, what's the mysticism like in this world?
Yeah. Nearby. Sorry, I'm a slow writer, apparently. Okay, coming up to the last bits of our world building. Oh, it's just a D4. Are you hoping for magic or no magic?
I'm pretty open.
Well, good thing we rolled a 4.
Okay.
Which is our open-ended option. We get to create it ourselves.
I would assume, based off the lore that we've kind of created, our people are probably anti-magic because they probably... So what I'm thinking is, I think the creatures that got released from the chasm are probably monsters in the sense they were probably flesh at one point, but because they were magic abuse, they combined themselves with our minerals.
Yeah, it's almost like that black iron... That is the only thing that retains some sort of magic within it, and that's why it's sought after.
Yep.
And that's why they who control the black iron control the communities. So maybe this artisan leader
is magically imbued iron.
Yeah. And that's the only bit that you can, and that's why I need it for my item, because it.
Yep.
I need a little magic, but it's so hard to come by, and you need like so much of it. Like maybe little bits can spark like cool little tricks, but large doses, like the iron circlet. Black iron only source for magic.
There it is. Ooh, so now religion. What's that going to look like? 3. So our gods are many. They make themselves known through manifestations and miracles. Some say they even secretly walk amongst us. The priests convey that the will of the gods holds sway over our many communities. Questar, you bear the mark of a god. What is it? The priests declare you as a sign. You are chosen to fulfill a destiny. Do you accept this fate or swear to see it through, or you determine to see it done? What forces oppose you? So now the question is, since our gods are many, I think both of us are marked, but are we marked by the same god?
Ooh. Like, are we marked by opposing gods?
That's a good question.
And what's the mark? Is it like a birthmark kind of thing, or is it like something a lot more clear?
I think if the gods walk amongst us, I think the gods appeared one day and marked us individually. But I think just for storytelling, I think we're marked by 2 separate gods.
Yeah. Like, my first thought is like the gods each claimed us as their own, and we bear their mark, and like for no reason at all, my mark is a shock of like bright colored hair.
Okay.
Like different than anybody else in the village. Like maybe it's like bright white, and it has been since I was born.
That's a good one.
I'm going to add that to my character over here. Marked by the gods.
So the question is, who is your god?
Is there a table for that? Can we roll?
No, I'm trying to find a generator for us. All right. Roll a d10 for me.
Okay. 1.
All right, so the goddess of architecture takes the form of an adult woman with the traits of a bird. She is very short and has a busty build. She is usually portrayed nude. She carries a lens, can recreate any building ever made. That's very fitting for you.
Yeah. And that's why I feel such a calling to be able to make this thing, because I'm...
John, welcome in, friend.
Hey, John! John,
All
I feel like it's always been a night with the gremlins. Do the gremlins ever give you a night off? Or who is your god that's marked you?
All right. So, ooh. All right, the goddess of revenge takes the form of a young woman. She is very short and has a lean build, has olive green hair. Her eyes are terrible to behold. She has plum-colored skin covered in writings. She's usually portrayed as wearing a dignified uniform made from living animals. She carried a halberd. She sometimes takes the form of a crocodile.
Dope. So what's your mark then?
I like the idea of being body covered in writing as well.
So like you just have these like tattoos or like scars or something?
I think it's like an ancient language tattooed all over my body that nobody can read.
Was it there since birth?
No. So I think when we got marked, I think at some point in time the gods had claimed us. I don't think it was a birth thing. I think they just appeared one day, marked us, and then vanished. Probably at 2 separate times, which makes it even wilder for the people.
What if it was almost... It didn't appear to be the same time because you're older. So what if I'm a few years younger and it's while I was in the womb, I was marked, but it wasn't visible until I was born.
That's a good one. I like that.
How much older is Torin than Cass?
I'd say probably 5 years.
So from 5 years old, you've had these markings all over you.
Yep.
That's cool. Do they glow?
No.
I just think of Fable.
No,
I think Fable 3 or Fable 2, one of them. You get like magic markings that start to glow through your skin like crackles. I
don't know what the firstborn is, but that's apparently an important thing, which we just solidified Torin was.
It's just who was born first.
No, like this is in the world building.
Oh.
So a 2 is the firstborn live in isolation and are fiercely protective of their own land.
Oh, this almost seems like a different, like almost like the Broken. But like this says, the firstborns have passed into legend. Some say they're remnants of the old tribes, or the firstborn hold sway in the Ironlands. The elves of the deep forest and giants of the hills tolerate us. It's like the non-humans.
So I wonder if maybe... how can we play with that?
My first gut is just, it's like within our communities of these like few tribes in our haven, in our safe space, they isolation and fiercely protect.
Oh no, the first one would be people in our... Okay. So their example quest is the elf, outcast from his kind, lives with the Ironlanders. Over time, he became a part of the community. Now he is dying. He yearns to return to his people before he passes. Does he seek absolution or justice? Okay. So what if that child.
And I don't think we have to take every quest starter.
You're right. I was trying to play into something here to give us another
How can we
quest.
mold it in?
But yeah, maybe we just take that one. Because again, this is something we can circle back to later. It's not going to be our initial. But yeah, maybe we just take that particular quest if the elf wants to go back to his people.
Maybe he promises that he knows of like a hidden bounty of black iron.
Okay.
And if we help get him back, then we can scratch all our backs.
Cool.
I think it's just using the word firstborn as like those firstborn of this land that are like elves and trolls and giants, like before the age of man. To go back to their people.
All right, so it looks like our next one, last one of 2. So do you want the beasts or do you want the horrors?
I want the horrors.
All right, so I'll take the beasts then. So the beasts of old are nothing but legend. A few who travel into the deep forests and high mountains return with wild tales of monstrous creatures, but they are obviously delusional. No such thing exists. You were witness to an attack by what you thought of an animal of monstrous proportion. No one believes you, in fact. You are accused of murder. You blame on this beast. How can you prove your innocence? Can you even trust your own memories of this event?
And I think that plays into the idea that like we're protecting the chasm, but like from fucking what? Like at this point, it's just like little tiny monsters that we're fishing out of the chasm. There's nothing that scary anymore, and there's nothing worth protecting.
That makes sense. So we're getting to a generational point of like, this job doesn't fucking make sense. What are we doing? But even though there is still the tradition, maybe we find one of those beasts that still go bump in the night.
Yeah. Like that black iron beast.
Yeah.
Or black iron dragon or something. I think that still fits. Okay, last but not least, horrors. Ooh, I got 4 again.
Okay.
So let's see what our examples are. Nothing but stories frighten children, or we are wary of dark forests and deep waterways, but monsters lurk in those places in the depths of the long night. The dead do not rest in the iron lands. At night we light torches, scatter salt.
I think 2 is just already fitting into our world.
It's like a blend of like they're nothing but fairy tales, but there's still way too many stories that we get through like our interconnectedness with other communities that they can't not be true. They can't all be lying.
Right.
And this firstborn, this like elvish or whatever person in our village, like maybe they live a lot longer than us and they have eyewitness account. So they have to exist.
Obviously.
And we protect just in case. There's enough sounds because we live right across the chasm. So there are sounds out there, but we don't really witness so much anymore. But do we still have that tradition of maybe that there has been that tradition for eons that send warriors out, but none have ever come back?
I don't think that's it. I think they come back with nothing. But because it's a tradition that's been handed down, we can't not do it.
Yeah.
So I think the difference is no, never mind. Never mind.
What?
I was going to see if maybe we set up a conflict with Gwen. Maybe our debt's with Gwen.
That would be good. That's why she's so hostile towards us.
Yeah. So the debt's with Gwen. You were working directly with her because she's an artisan. And so you were trying to learn from her and do your thing. But she's so obsessed with black iron that she is willing. Ignore that part. So she's getting impatient because she's running out of black iron. We haven't been able to find a monster to provide black iron in some time.
In the fishing.
Right. And so now we get sent out to refill her supply to clear your debt.
Yeah, and if I can complete this item, I want it to have a grander scope than simply like traversing the depths, like, because I'm so kind. Like, I find, like, I theorize that if we can create something to go down there, that it could solve like the entire community's problem, maybe the entire world's problem. Maybe there's tons of black iron down there and we can bring like magic back to the entire world.
There it is. I like that.
So that not just the few have power, but we all can access the power. It's sustainable energy.
Okay.
We don't have to live in the shallows
We've
anymore.
got some good stuff here. So I think what we finished the night on is we establish our 2 vows.
Okay.
And so
I love it.
Torin's vow would obviously be pay off debt to Gwen.
Do you think that's your like overarching vow,
I think that's
or
the long-term
your immediate
vow? I think that's the overarching. To clear Cass's.
I'm going to make mine a little longer scope than that. I want to bring black iron to all.
Maybe Torin does want to be a ruler. Maybe he does want to be a leader. Maybe he disagrees with how Gwen runs things.
Because you don't really agree with most of our settlement.
Yep. To become the next leader of Stormrock.
Because I see those are individual troubles as a little more immediate. Like, I could build an item before I could bring black iron
and
available.
I'm going to say that is an epic level vow.
And oftentimes that the bigger one should be epic. And we should explain that the difference is, it's got a nice little chart here. Depending on how hard it is, it depends how long it takes you to succeed, and also how slowly you can actually progress. This is not even. So some like easy goals, easy vows, every time you progress, you might tick 3 whole boxes. A little more challenging ones, you might tick 1 single box. But like an epic vow, you would do a single slash in it, and a box would be considered full when you have 5 slashes, like when you complete a little star.
And then my short term was to clear Cass's debt to Gwen Maddock, and I said that was a formidable vow.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. So that's going to be epic, and I'm going to create an item to traverse the chasm.
I'm gonna be honest, I still don't know what's happening, but we got a lot accomplished.
And in only like an hour and a half. Like, think how long it takes to build a campaign and set up a whole world.
True.
It takes weeks and months. Next time, I think we'll need to set up our bonds, which are highly important. It's probably you and I, but maybe we meet somebody else. And we'll figure out in plainer terms how to actually get this game rolling so that
Yeah, I think off screen we'll probably finish up the rest of this. So next time we can actually start playing.
I'm here for it.
Hell yeah.
Now that we decided more than a day in advance to begin an entirely new TTRPG. But I love that. That was so fun to create it.
That was pretty cool.
It just takes a little prompting. Ooh, and we haven't even gotten to like major plot twist. Yeah. That's in an Oracle Mystic Backlash. Combat action.
Yeah, we haven't even looked into how weapons and all that work, but we'll get there next time.
We'll get there. If you enjoyed this, if you like watching, tune back in. We're going to keep exploring Ironsworn. And if you are already a fan, comment below and let us know your experience with Ironsworn and some fun things that you've done. Because this seems like such a fun thing to do, even solo. I don't know how the game works solo.
But the solo RPGs I've played, I do think this one is much, much better.
It's got more promise.
Yeah, because a lot of the solo RPGs, like I played a couple of them, and a lot of them were like poetry based, which I thought was a little weird. But maybe that just the ones I kind of found weren't for me.
This just kind of creates a structure, which I find very comforting.
And a very easy structure to play into.
Because you don't always want to create something brand new every time. You just want something to scratch the itch.
Yep.
That's why I like the idea of doing this for the next few Mondays, figuring it out and playing while we get
Thanks for hanging out, Raph. We appreciate you, friend.
You are always willing.
A very quiet chat day, but sometimes it just be like that.
It just be like that. Sometimes I just like vibing in a chat, not saying a single thing, just listening, having us on in the background, and we appreciate letting us be part of your Monday night. But keep hanging out. Come back. Are you painting on Wednesday?
Yeah, I still need to go around and get brushes this week, but I got some new paints in, so I'm gonna keep working on this guy.
What is that?
It is just an elemental creature. He's got a lot of stone and wood and vine on him. Something I printed a long time ago and painted and looked like shit. So then I stripped him, primed him, and now I'm repainting.
I did that wrong. Raid Peach Wagon.
I don't want to get into the models I truly care about. Next, like the next big model I paint is going to be Gambit. But he's one of my favorite characters, and I don't want to fuck him up by not painting for a long time. So,
not to start a whole tangent, but have you seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet?
Nope. And I don't want to fucking spoiler. I will throw hands.
I won't. You're gonna love it. You're just gonna love it. But you guys stick around. We're gonna raid Peach Wagon, show her some love. At least stop in and say hi. But until next time, I am Bozer.
I'm T.
And you just keep
geeking out.
Love you.
Bye. Bye.